Traveling the world is a great way to discover new cultures and meet people. However, Black travelers may face challenges, including racial discrimination. While it's hard to say which countries are the least welcoming to Black people, certain regions have more reported cases of racism. This video explores how Black travelers experience discrimination in different countries, aiming to create safer and more inclusive travel spaces for everyone. 10. Ukraine. Ukraine has also been criticized for its treatment of Black people and other ethnic minorities. Reports of racism, including racial slurs and discrimination in housing or employment, have surfaced over the years. Black travelers in Ukraine may face challenges such as being stared at or subjected to unwelcome comments. While Ukraine has made strides in addressing racial issues, xenophobia and racism remain significant concerns for many ethnic minorities, particularly Black people. The experiences of Black travelers may vary, but racism is a notable issue that many face while visiting or living in the country. 9. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, known for its strict laws and regulations, also faces issues related to racism, especially toward Black people. Many Black travelers report facing discrimination in public spaces, such as being excluded or treated unfairly in hospitality and retail environments. Additionally, the treatment of migrant workers in Saudi Arabia, particularly those from African countries, has been widely criticized. Black people in Saudi Arabia, both residents and travelers, may experience discrimination, particularly in more conservative or rural areas. While some individuals report positive experiences, others find that racism remains a persistent issue. 8. Kuwait. Kuwait is home to many migrant workers, including many from African countries. Despite the significant number of Black individuals living and working in the country, they are often treated as second-class citizens. Racism in Kuwait has been a subject of criticism, and many Black workers report feeling excluded and unequal in various aspects of life. Migrant workers, especially those from African nations, can experience poor working conditions, unequal pay, and limited opportunities for social mobility. This systemic racism adds to the challenges faced by Black people living in Kuwait, and many struggle with limited legal protections and a lack of support. 7. Egypt, a country with a significant population of people of African descent, still poses challenges for Black travelers, especially in urban centers with higher numbers of tourists. Discrimination in Egypt is often based on colorism, where people with darker skin may be treated differently from lighter-skinned individuals. Black travelers to Egypt have reported feeling like outsiders or being treated unfairly due to their appearance. While the country's rich history and connection to African culture make it an attractive destination for many, Black visitors may experience some level of exclusion, particularly in areas with a large international tourist presence. 6. Vietnam. Vietnam is generally considered a welcoming country for travelers, but some Black visitors report feeling stared at or treated differently due to their race. This issue often arises from a lack of exposure to people of African descent in many parts of the country. The unfamiliarity can lead to uncomfortable situations where Black travelers might feel like they're being singled out or treated as outsiders. While Vietnam is increasingly welcoming to diverse tourists, Black travelers may still encounter situations where they are the subject of unwanted attention, such as stares or comments. This kind of reaction is rooted in a lack of exposure to racial diversity and may not necessarily be a reflection of deep-seated racism, but it can still feel uncomfortable for travelers. 5. India. India is known for its cultural diversity, but Black people visiting or living there have faced instances of racism. These experiences often include being stared at, called derogatory names, or treated unfairly in public spaces. The country's lack of awareness and understanding about racial issues can contribute to the perception of Black people as different or exotic in ways that feel uncomfortable or dehumanizing. Black travelers may experience exclusion in social situations or unwanted attention due to their skin color. In some cases, discrimination can also extend to housing and transportation. While the situation may be more pronounced in rural areas, some Black travelers have faced challenges even in urban centers. Despite these difficulties, many Black individuals have had positive experiences in India. It's essential to remember that India's size and diversity mean that the experiences of Black travelers can vary widely depending on the region. However, the possibility of encountering racism, especially in rural areas, is something travelers should be prepared for. 4. Brazil. Brazil, with one of the largest Black populations in the world, has a long history of racial inequality. Despite the significant presence of Black people, they often face challenges related to access to education, healthcare, and employment. The criminal justice system disproportionately targets Black Brazilians, and the country struggles with widespread racism. Cities like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, home to large Black populations, still see discrimination in both professional and social settings. Black individuals are sometimes excluded from certain spaces or unfairly targeted by law enforcement. The deep-rooted history of slavery and racism in Brazil continues to affect the daily lives of many Black Brazilians, and this racial divide remains an ongoing issue in society. While Brazil's vibrant culture and beautiful landscapes attract millions of visitors each year, travelers should be aware of the racial dynamics in the country. Discrimination against Black people, both subtle and overt, remains a significant concern. It's important for Black travelers to acknowledge the racial tensions that persist and engage with them thoughtfully during their visit. 3. Naples, Italy. Naples, a historic city in southern Italy, has faced criticism for its treatment of Black people and other migrants. Though many people enjoy visiting Italy for its rich cultural heritage, some Black individuals have reported experiences of exclusion, violence, and hostility, particularly in certain neighborhoods or districts. The challenges in Naples often stem from a broader pattern of racism directed toward migrants and people of African descent. Reports of racial slurs, unequal treatment, and discrimination in housing and employment have been common. As with many cities, the experiences of Black people in Naples can vary, but the racism some travelers face can make their visit less enjoyable. 2. China. In China, Black people often face discrimination in both business and social settings. Though the country boasts a rich cultural history and a growing international community, Black travelers and residents have reported various forms of racism. This discrimination can be subtle, but it's noticeable in daily interactions. In places like restaurants, hotels, and retail stores, Black individuals may receive poorer service or be treated differently compared to others. Racist stereotypes about Black people are sometimes perpetuated in the media, further contributing to feelings of exclusion. Some Black travelers have mentioned that they were treated with suspicion or curiosity, making them feel like outsiders, especially in less diverse regions. China is a massive country with diverse cities and communities, and many people from African nations, the Caribbean, and other parts of the world live and work there. 1. Russia. Russia has faced significant criticism for racial discrimination, particularly against Black people, migrants, and people of color. Reports indicate that Black individuals often experience racial profiling, discrimination in the job market, and physical violence. Some Black travelers feel unsafe in certain areas due to common racist remarks and attitudes. Many Black people, particularly those from African or Middle Eastern backgrounds, report harassment in public spaces, including racist comments, stares, and exclusion in stores or on public transportation. Discriminatory practices also make it harder for some to secure housing or employment. Although there are efforts to combat racism, Russia's history and social climate present challenges. In larger cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, where there is more cultural diversity, experiences can be more positive. In conclusion, while it's difficult to definitively say which countries are the least welcoming to Black people, the nations discussed in this article have all faced criticism for racial discrimination and inequality. However, experiences can vary widely based on location, culture, and personal circumstances. Many countries are making efforts to address racism, and positive experiences can still be found. By staying informed and seeking advice from other travelers, Black individuals can navigate their journeys more confidently, contributing to a more inclusive and understanding global community. Enjoyed this? Please subscribe. Thank you.